Good evening from the Riviera Beach Community Marina Event Center. I'm John Gustafson, President of the Singer Island Civic Association, and I welcome you to the 2019 City of Riviera Beach Candidate Forum. I'd like to start with a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. We have an awful lot of information to get through this evening. And as your moderator, I request both the audience and the candidates not to slander, attack, harass any candidates and stick to the topics and questions ahead. With that being said, let's get things started. The Riviera Beach Candidate Forum was designed by the Singer Island Civic Association. We will have two sessions this evening. Council seat for Districts 1, 3, and 5, followed by the mayor's race. The rules for this evening. Each candidate will have a 30-second self-introduction. 4 secret predetermined questions will be asked to each question. Each candidate will have a varying time to answer those questions that you'll see as we move through this evening. And each candidate will have a 60-second closing statement. The order for the self-introduction and question was picked from a hat, and we'll rotate one question and one candidate forward for each question. Ms. Hubbard, you were the first to get the star, so you will be starting off this evening. Closing statements will be in reverse order from the opening statement. Mr. Guyton, you will go for the first on the closing statement, then to Ms. Davis and Mrs. Brooks. For the record, none of the questions that will be asked this evening have been shared with any of our SICA members, sponsors, or the candidates. All questions have been designed and used for the forward growth and positive enrichment for the city of Riviera Beach and Singer Island. Ms. Hubbard, or Councilwoman Hubbard, please, 30 seconds.
Good evening. I'm Lynn Hubbard, for candidate for District 1. I am running again for this seat because there is a lot of work to do. I am known for fighting for the people. I haven't been bought or bossed, nor will I put politics before people. The economic development and the improvement of the quality of life for the city of Riviera Beach and all residents is very important to me, and I hope to continue that in the next term. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hubbard.
Good evening. Thank you, SICA, for holding this debate and for the 19 candidates running citywide. My name is Trodrick McCoy. I'm a lifelong resident of Riviera Beach, and also I've been serving this community in a number of different capacities, and most of the time I'm the guy that's standing up at the podium fighting the establishment or holding our elected officials to task, and that's what I'm about. I'm an accountant by trade. I spent time working in the legislature, and also I own my own business here in the city, and it means a lot to have good representation in Riviera Beach. I am your candidate that you want to vote for on March 12th, the real McCoy.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Horace Towns. I'm a former government employee with experience as a manager and as a worker. I have over a decade of experience. I've managed $20 million budgets, and I'm currently one of 5 Riviera Beach Housing Authority commissioners. My first night on the job, day 1, I will petition to hire a new city manager. That city manager will then hire a new police chief. That new city manager will then fill all the vacancies that we have in our city.
Thank you. We're going to go to District 3, to Councilwoman Davis. We'll come back to you.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Davis Johnson. I am the incumbent council member for District 3 and candidate for re-election. Important to me is certainly economic development, care for our seniors and our youth. It is important that we continue to have a continuity on the board of experience and dedication to make sure that the services that are needed are delivered to the citizens of Riviera Beach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shirley Lanier. I know that most of you here voted for Julie Botel or Kishama Miller Anderson by 80-20 vote. I agree with how they vote. I stand with them. And if you vote for me, you will know that I am on the side of what is right. I'm on the side of integrity and honesty and good governance for this city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Marvelous Washington, candidate for District 3 City Council. I'm here because I want to eliminate the fiscal loopholes that are currently in our city. I want to make sure we hold our departments and our council accountable for the misfortune of the funds that we are spending. And I'm also have over a decade of government experience. Again, experience is key, and I want you guys to remember that. March 12th, please vote Marvelous Washington. I'm here to serve, not to earn.
Thank you.
I'm Tommy Walker, and this is my second attempt at City Council. I ran in 2016. I fell short. I remember back in the day I was here in the 50s, and it took me 15 years just to even come over here to stand on this same ground. So right now, I'm running for one reason, and that's to create a board that will be united. Because we all know, united we stand, and divided we fall. We can come up here with all the stuff that we want to. We have to have a harmonious board. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to go to District 5. Mr. Blackwell.
Good evening. My name is Corey Blackwell, and I'm running for Riviera Beach City Council, District 5. I am married to that wonderful woman over there, Shannon Blackwell. We have 2 adult children, Tiara and CJ. I am a retired Palm Beach County Sheriff's Deputy. I am currently working as an SRO at John F. Kennedy Middle School. I am a business owner. I am running simply because we as a community, we need to do better to become better. If we don't start doing better, we will never become better.
Thank you.
I just want to say good afternoon and thank you everyone for coming out and taking the time out your lovely day. I'm Councilman Terrence Davis, the District 5 at large represents this entire city. And I come today to run to tell you that I'm saying thank you for allowing me to serve 2 terms. And tonight I come prepared to give you the facts and the truth on why you should celebrate about your community by telling you the truth tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Douglas Lawson. I'm a candidate City Council District 5. I'm a business owner here in the city. I own Infinity Taxes and beyond. I've created jobs here in the community. I've created over 30 jobs for residents here in the city. I've also provided a youth entrepreneurial camp for our community. Not only have I been a resident of here, but I've actually poured into the community by showing discipline, direction, transparency, and honesty to our community, and I'm going to continue to do that. My name is Douglas Lawson. I am the choice for change. Please elect Douglas Lawson, March 12th.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Billy Brooks, and I'm running for District 1. 2,800 people signed a petition to recall the current city council person. That District 1 now needs someone with a background in city government, administration, and business, and I bring that to District 1. I served on the City Council for 4 years, 2 terms. I was an administrator under the Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners, handling Title 20 monies throughout Palm Beach County. And I also am a business person. For 30 years, I have been a small business owner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Davis.
Hello, my name is Erica Davis, and I'm not a politician. I'm an advocate for Riviera Beach people and the residents. And I'm here to fight for restructuring the city, cleaning up the west side, redeveloping the east side so we can bring revenue into this community, stop the crime in our city, and I'm going to be transparent, and I'm not going to take wooden nickels from anybody. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Guyton.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Guyton, and I'm a lifelong resident of Riviera Beach. I'm running for office again because I am deeply disappointed with the lack of progress the last 3 years. When the previous council left, we was headed on the right trajectory. And now it seems like the city has stopped still, and I bring the experience and education that I think can help get us back on the right track. I have a graduate degree in urban and regional planning, a bachelor's degree in business administration, and I've been working for the county over 20 years. I started at the village over 30 years ago, and I have the right stuff to get us back on the right track.
Appreciate it. Thank you all for your introductions. I just want to state for the obvious, we have a lot of questions to get through, so I apologize for any delays that were here. But if you can just hold to your times, I'd appreciate it, and we'll get through this as fast as we can and hopefully shorter than a council meeting. Sorry. Question 1. You'll have 45 seconds to answer this. Ms. Hubbard, you will begin with. What is your recommendation to the project management team for one of the largest Riviera Beach contracts to ensure successful implementation? What is the most important to you in the success of this project?
The Marina Phase 2 project.
That is correct.
Thank you. My recommendation for the Marina project is for it to be successful, we all have to benefit from the project. We have to create as many opportunities for local participation as possible. Use as many local business providers, as many contractors and subcontractors, so that the dollars can circulate within the community, not bring in contractors only that are going to take the money out of the city. While right now we're in a position where we're trying to decide who's going to get that contract.
Thank you, Ms. Hubbard. Mr. McCoy, the same question. Please let me know if you need it.
I'm very optimistic. I know it's going to be successful. So what my expectations is to bring us back a conceptual idea so that it can be vetted out at the staff level. And then we can also send it to citizens' charrettes and put the citizens involved. And then also the planning and zoning board. But at this point,
excuse me.
Can I finish?
Absolutely, please.
Mr. Gustafson.
Point of order.
Absolutely.
So hold on. So it appears that there are concerns about the Sunshine Law. So out of respect for
I apologize. We're 1 second. Apparently there is some thought that there is some sunshine law violations, and any of the incumbents that feel they need to leave the room, they are more than welcome to leave the room, and at this time they can be invited back in to answer the question if necessary. Absolutely. Apologize for any concerns to the incumbents or anyone else.
Thank you. I thought I said something wrong.
Mr. McCoy, you did not say anything wrong. You still have another 10 seconds. I apologize.
Can I start over?
All right, we're not going to get through anything else.
Well, I think
for this.
As soon as Ms. Hubbard exits, I'll finish.
Mr. McCoy, I'll give you your time back.
I have a lot of faith and optimism that we are going to be successful. We have to select a developer for our marina project. I have an office on Broadway, and it is imperative that we develop the Broadway corridor, and I support it, but we have to first start with a conceptual design. We can't run around deciding to change our master developer or change the rules to the game. So let's get moving forward with a conceptual design, let the citizens vet it, let the staff vet it, and send it to the Planning and Zoning Board so we can get moving. Because nothing happens when nothing happens.
Thank you.
Me and my wife are small business owners. I'm Riviera Beach Housing Commissioner Horace Towns, and we just created the first affordable housing project in close to 40 years. Times have changed. We have to get creative. You want to hear development. We need to develop from Broadway, Limit to Limit, and Blue Heron, but I don't feel comfortable now. Investors looking at projects continuously going to a 3-2 vote doesn't make people comfortable. We need to wait till after the election and then see what the new majority is. But phase 1 was terrible, and I don't think you guys want to forget about Ocean Mall. That's why I have a problem with the council being the CRA board and the utility board. We have to make changes. I want to maximize these projects for our benefit. Let's check on the procurement code. There's too many things that we're leaving on the table. This is our city, and we need to benefit first. Thank you.
Right now, we're discussing in the order that we need to do here. I have my set. And then
Wait a moment.
we're just verifying if there's any sunshine law violations at this time. We're going to continue moving forward.
Okay, hi, I'm Shirley Lanier. The recommendations to ensure successful implementation. I think the biggest thing is that we have to look at this issue from a fiscal standpoint. We are talking about $200 million of taxpayer money going into something that right now is going back and forth between developers. They're trying to figure out who's going to get it, who's not going to get it. I think that the public needs to be informed. The people who are taxpayers need to know where their money is going, how it's going to be spent, and not just say $200 million, you know, we can just do that and nothing is done in terms of making sure that people are responsible, people are fiscally responsible for how they spend our money.
Thank you.
First and foremost, I like to say that we are the only city that involves our city council with the CRA. So that automatically needs to change. The most important issue I have and what I want to see is success from the project is that this project will create revenue and create jobs for our community. So the project must move on, must move forward. I recommend that the council keep in mind that we have developers that are planning to redevelop that area, and also keeping concern to prevent disrupting our natural resources that are in that area. So we need to keep in mind that our beachfront is there, and we do not want to taint that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I've been waiting on this project for a very long time, but unlike this project, we spent $40 million over on this project, and we didn't create no black millionaires. Bottom line, we need to vet this situation out. We need to have a plan so that the community grows. The plan is already here, but the community does not have any involvement in it. So let's have it, but let's get ahead of it so that we can all grow from this project.
Thank you.
Corey Blackwell, District 5. My position is simple. My suggestion would be to table it and to scrap this project at this time. Riviera Beach is not ready to undertake a $200 million project when we don't even have administrators in our office to oversee it. What are we going to do? Farm out the oversight to another consultant and be right back here again? Plain and simple, we need to table it and move on.
Thank you, Mr. Blackwell.
Again, my name is Douglas Lawson, candidate District 5. Once I saw that developers took charge of the direction of this project and they outlined what was going to happen by coming together to do this project, I knew it was a flawed process. I knew that we had issues within our council and leadership. So what we have to do as a team is put the right people in place. We have to start with hiring a city manager, a permanent manager. We have to hire a CRA director, have that manager bring a CRA director that can actually oversee the project properly. Because if we do not have the proper staffing in place, we cannot afford this risk that we have right now. We have to take charge of our city and take back our city. So please understand, we need to put the staff in place.
Thank you. Ms. Brooks from District 1, please.
Well, look, I just say amen to what you guys just said. We have got to have people in place who can manage this project. There is an agreement right now. It's called the Upline Agreement. It was signed in 2014. And in that agreement, the city is actually the landlord. The CRA is the tenant. Now, in that agreement, now, isn't that strange? You're both the landlord and the tenant. Now, the tenant is being asked, according to that agreement, that you must have in place someone who has the experience and the background that would be necessary to operate a redevelopment project comparable to what we have. And my question is, do we have that? No, we do not.
Thank you for your time.
We've got nothing but interim folks here and there, so we got to hire a city manager. Thank you.
I agree with the rest of my colleagues. We need to scratch it. Because from what I've witnessed, it's a lot of bias within the project, with the developers, and we need a better plan because it needs to include the children. It needs to include daily revenue coming in the city. We need to develop the whole corridor of Broadway in order to bring the tourists over on this side. So yes, scratch it and reevaluate it and start over again.
Thank you very much. Mr. Guyton.
Thank you. What is my recommendation to ensure a successful implementation? Is to have a process to hire construction management experts. They do exist. What is most important to me for the success of this project? For us, the lay people, to get out of the way and allow them to do their job. The city council oversees this process, but we need to hire the experts to run it and make sure it happens. And we did that in the past, and here we sit in the brand new event center. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guyton. Ms. Davis, would you like the question reread to you?
No, I'm good. My recommendation to ensure successful implementation of this plan would be to make sure that there is significant and consistent engagement of the public to make sure that what is being designed is actually what is needed in order to drive tourists, to drive participation for our residents to be able to engage in the services down at the marina. So community engagement and certainly being vocal about their intentions as well as being clear about the intended development.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Okay, first of all, we have a process that's in place to recommend to approval for Team 1, not Team 1 or 2. So we can negotiate a CBA agreement, which is Community Benefits Agreement, so we can make sure that there's money spent after the construction phase that our community can really play a role in the long-term job creations of this opportunity. These $200 million are very important to the next 2 decades of this community. And the only thing I can talk about is making sure we approve the process next Wednesday night, allow the team to negotiate with the CRA director, and then come back and see what we have to offer the community, which is you, to play a role in the significant roles of those jobs. You're selling toilet paper, selling windows, selling doors, selling trinkets, selling towels. We have hotels, we have restaurants.
That's your time. Thank you very much. We're going to move into the next question. Just to keep things rolling, I'm going to move one question forward to Mr. McCoy. Question 2, 60 seconds to respond. The topic is charter revision recommendations. Choose one of the recommendations of the Charter Review Committee and share your rationale for supporting or challenging it.
I would definitely like to respond to that question. Thank you, current council members. I had the opportunity of being appointed to the Charter Review Committee back in 2017, and I did serve for a short time, and it was something that I couldn't fulfill, so I politely stepped aside. But I think what's important is this isn't about us. It's about serving. Everything happens in the season, so I certainly support term limits. And I would ask that you guys go out and support it, because this is not about us. We do our time, and then we move on. What we can't do in Riviera Beach is continue to recycle the same leadership and expect that something different is going to come forth. We need fresh people. I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. I need 10 more seconds. If I can say this. We have to elect new people in Riviera Beach. That's the only way we're going to move forward, because if we continue down the same path, you can't really expect anything different. McCoy, March 12th.
Thank you.
Interesting. My expertise is municipal government. I agree. We have constant turnaround in this city, so you have an unstable government. So most of the charter things that are addressed in the charter are standard. The city council sets policy, city manager runs your city. So me, I understand that. Term limits, I don't want to be a career politician. I don't need a job. My second term, I'll start to shadow someone. That way they have a familiar chance to come in and transition for our future. Personally, I am a city representative. I work for you. I would never take the opportunity for you to participate in that process out of your hand. You guys decide what you want. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's going to go over to Ms. Davis now. Ms. Davis, I'll read the question since you were out of the room. Charter revision recommendations. Choose one of the recommendations of the Charter Review Committee and share your rationale for supporting or challenging. 60 seconds.
Thank you. The one that I would select would be the non-interference clause. That is a standard clause in government, period. And there should be no interference with a city manager directing her employees and having a council directly insert themselves into the day-to-day operations of city government. That is certainly not our function, that is not our will, and that is not why we were voted in. We were voted in to set policy and to make sure that the city is running properly.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Shirley. I also, too, was appointed to the Charter Review Committee. We spent countless hours for almost a year and a half going over every single piece of the charter. We took article by article, we discussed it, we debated it, we went through each of those. We submitted 10 articles, 10 amendments to the City Council. They only accepted 4 of them. A lot of the amendments included issues like, if you wanted to run for office, you shouldn't have to pay $1,200. You should be able to go out and get 5,000 votes or 10,000 votes or whatever you needed, 10,000 signatures or 5,000 signatures to be able to run for office and not have to spend money to do that. A lot of times people want to run for office, but they don't have any money to do it. So a lot of times when we have issues like running for office or the mayor being able to suspend people, or we had 10 different ones. They only supported 4 of them, but I supported all of them. Those are my recommendations as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marvelous, Washington, District 3. First off, I want to thank the volunteers that created the Charter Review Committee and your time that you put in effort to create these amendments. There's not one amendment that I can say that I support or not support. I support all of the amendments because some of the amendments that are included in the ballot for March 12th are standard policies and procedures that is included in any city and any municipality, especially the ethics policy that the Palm Beach County has adopted. So as far as term limits and administrative interference, that is standard language for any city government. And no politician or council member or anyone that's running for mayor or anyone that's running for city council should have any objections to those things being on the ballot. I think the citizens should have the right to vote, the city have the right to have a choice, and we should not deter them from doing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
When the 9 first came out, they had one about pulling the name out the hat and be elected. I said in the beginning, take that one out. We had 7 or 8 people to create this charter review vision. These people took their time. Let that go to the ballot. All 8 of them should have went to the ballot. We should have had some town hall meetings to explain them all and let it go. Let the people vote on them. It's common sense. The council keep micromanaging this city, and we have to make some changes. All those revisions should have been on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Blackwell.
Corey Blackwell, District 5. I feel the same way Ms. Marvelous feels. All these are standard. There's nothing new, no new provisions outlined here. This is a simple vote, yes to all of them. I'm more aligned with the revision of the ethics. I think everything that's been going on in Riviera Beach, there needs to be a revision of the ethics, and these city council persons need to be reminded of their fiduciary duties. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Davis.
Thank you. I'm your councilman. And based upon the facts, all the issues that came up before us in the Charter Review Committee was something that was recommended, and that board spent time on it. But all of them except for one were things we already governed by. We have a Palm Beach County Ethics Commission that's already governed the board. We have an OIG, they make recommendations on it. And those recommendations have to be based upon the facts, not based upon opinion, what you think, based upon the facts. The only one I did support and was willing to support was the term limits. But the only problem I had with the Charter Review Committee was they didn't have time to factor in the costs associated with it, so we can take a year and take our time to figure out how we're going to get this information disseminated across this entire city fairly and equally. Here we are right now, we're about 3 to 4 weeks away, and we only had one town hall meeting to discuss an issue that's going to impact the entire city. I just felt that we should have paused, took a minute, how we're going to fund it, how it's going to get addressed, and spend an entire year, because you just saw we had a general election, and people had almost 7 months to address those issues, and they got confused. But I do support term limits.
Thank you, Councilman Davis.
Douglas Lawson. The charter is dated over 40 years ago. Literally in 2008, we had 20 amendments go to the ballot and passed with 80% of them passed. The timing for the charter review was not a short period of time like Councilman Davis says. They disbanded the first charter review team, and it would have given us ample time if they never disbanded that first charter. So if we would have taken the time to actually put it to the citizens and give them an option to actually come to the table and decide what needs to be done to a 40-year-old charter, then we would have been in a position to be able to make the proper changes and let the citizens, not the council members, not the charter review, but the citizens vote. So make sure, Douglas Lawson, March 12th.
Thank you.
Well, I too am in favor of every single one of them. The one that I'm most passionate about has to do with council not having any interference with the city manager. That is the one that will get us a really qualified city manager. When I met Jonathan Evans, I said, why in the world you want to come here? They micromanage. And he didn't last but 6 months. So we really need to vote for all of them. But that is the one that's going to make a difference in terms of the kind of leadership we bring to our city as a city manager. And I'm hoping we bring back Jonathan Evans.
Amen. Thank you.
If you vote for me, we will bring it back. I'm in favor of all of them myself. Now, I'm going to say something. if we have all of these bylaws already in order, why don't the federal, state, and local abide by them? I mean, we have the charter, we have all the OIG investigations, and nothing is being done for any of it. So I'm wondering, how can we enforce these laws so we can be accountable for them? That's the question. We can make charter review amendments all day long, but can we enforce them? That's the question. But I'm in favor of all of them, because we're not above the law. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. One of the things that I'm passionate about is allowing the people to speak. I reviewed those recommendations, and one of the things that jumped out at me is that a lot of these, as Ms. Davis just said, we have a lot of this already in place. It's about enforcement. Are we reiterating, or are we overkilling, or, I mean, what is the real purpose if it's already there? I do support term limits, and I do support the people speaking, but a lot of this is already in place. The issue that we have now, we're going to have it then, enforcement. You can put whatever you want in place. The issue is going to be enforcement, and that's the issue now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gooden. Ms. Hubbard, please.
The charter amendment and the charter committee is to be commended for hosting and reviewing all of the amendments that they did. We say that we don't want interference with the city manager. When the local residents call you and they tell you, there is water leaking in my streets, the lights are out on the street, the only thing that you can do is to call the city manager and to ask the city manager to have that department. When we cannot call our city manager to advocate on your behalf, just today we had to go out into the community because there was a sewage bust. So we need to be able to at least tell the city manager what you want to have done, what you're coming before us with. As your advocate, as your representative, I am supposed to take that to the city manager and try and get some of the things that you want done. If every department head was doing everything that they were supposed to do, then I would not have to advocate on your behalf, but I am supposed to. Thank you.
Thank you. Being that we moved question 2, one question forward for Ms. Hubbard, I'm going to keep things fair and move it one more question forward again. So, Mr. Towns, you'll be beginning, and Mr. McCoy, you'll be ending. Question 3, regarding city image issues and the media. You'll have 90 seconds to answer this question. The city of Riviera Beach seems to make the news for all the wrong reasons. Pick one negative headline and tell us how you would address it. Examples: OIG report, insurance debacle, crime reports, city staff incompetence, and water quality.
All right, well, I'm gonna ride with the water, because I've been at that microphone for 3 years talking about the health crisis issue that we have in our city. I'd rather drink out of lake than drink at our own faucets, and that's a real issue, because at one time the city of Riviera Beach had pristine water. That is a major issue in our city. So instead of us subsidizing and having issues, the first thing on the ballot should be talking about being proactive and getting a new water plant. But to take it a step further, with the water plant, Singer Island, you want to hear about some of the changes in your community. Let's take some of the money that's been mismanaged and address the lack of public safety and services in your community. New fire station, proper representation with police in your areas. Those are things you want to hear about. So the crisis needs to be addressed, but public relations needs to be increased. That way, real information gets out. Some of the stuff that is labeled against us is by design, you know? And I'm just going to be honest. I'll participate. Some of the facts are valid, but at the same time, some is sensationalized. So those are my answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Davis.
Thank you.
I would simply say with the OIG report, it's important to acknowledge where you had your missteps, where the errors were, and address those head on. You can never get around a situation that may have a negative connotation. You simply need to face it head on, acknowledge the mistake, correct the mistakes, and ensure that those mistakes don't continue to happen. And in doing that, you are preparing your workforce to be responsible and to be productive. So you've got to take responsibility, you've got to own it, correct it, and ensure that it does not repeat.
Thank you.
Hi, I think that it's easier to clean up your image when you can do better. You know, you look better when you do better. What is happening with the city is when you have a situation where almost $1 million was spent for insurance for people who don't even work for the city anymore. How is that even possible? How is it that the person who did that still has a job? How is it that the person who was the agent still has a job? That is outrageous, to be able to have $1 million in the city gone and nobody is fired, people still got a job. That is outrageous. That is the image that people see. That's why we look incompetent. That's why we look like we don't care, because the people still have jobs. And I'm saying that the only way that it's going to change is that the people who are in those positions have to change. Thank you.
Good evening. I have to come around the table and talk about this because
90 seconds.
OIG report. One thing we need to do as a council and as a city is to eliminate these loopholes that we have. If we eliminate and reduce these loopholes, that prevents wasteful spending. Some of you may not know, we have 67 credit cards throughout the city of Riviera Beach. 67 credit cards, and I will tell you half of them are probably unaccounted for. I know 6 that need to be eliminated. Okay? We should not be spending money on limousine rides, trips to trainings that we are not showing accountability. There's no measurable outcomes to show what did you get from those trainings. Our Broadway corridor is still empty from local businesses because we're not attracting businesses. We're living off the city at this time. So the OIG report needs to you need to take that in consideration when you go to vote on March 12th. Please keep that in consideration. You want to vote for individuals with integrity. Integrity. I have over a decade of experience in government. Okay, from where I come from, anything that I spend on my credit card is scrutinized. I'm also responsible for other people's credit card purchases. I have to approve those purchases. I have to lead by example. They know that I can't go spend my credit card at Rachel's because the citizens of Riviera Beach, citizens of West Palm Beach are going to scrutinize that credit card. You have to be mindful of where you use your credit card. And there's no excuse for you not knowing the policies of the city because you were brought in to understand the policies of the city. That is a requirement of any employee that's here. That should be a requirement of the council. If I was an employee that overspent $500,000, I would be suspended.
Thank you.
I'm going to take the tough one, the city staff incompetence. As a veteran and as a non-commissioned officer, you are always responsible for everybody down below you. Ever since Jonathan got fired, we have been going downhill. Number one, let me tell you right now, Ms. Hopkins been in office for about 15 months. The police chief left in February. We still don't have a police chief. That's incompetence. What are we waiting on? We still have about 5 or 6 director slots that we need to be filled. That's incompetence. As a military veteran, I'm going to use my leadership traits and all the skills that we have to ensure that we put things in place. We at a standstill. When are we going to take off? And that goes around from the council too, because it's all their fault. I think they handcuff the city manager. To tell you the truth, that she can make no decision. So when are we going to move forward? And it's not your fault. And that's one of the reasons I'm running. Somebody got to stand up and make the hard decisions. You can't be straddling the fence all day long, all the time. You're going to have to make tough decisions. And once we get our city staff, you know, our building department is almost gone. Inspectors.
Thank you for your time.
Corey Blackwell, District 5 again. Tommy Walker said it all. He said it all. Let's be frank, ladies and gentlemen. City staff incompetence, it falls under water quality. If you don't have somebody competent running your water department, then your water quality is going to be poor. If you don't have somebody adequate running your police department, then your safety of your neighborhoods is going to be in jeopardy. If you don't have somebody in your HR department run it correctly, you're going to give away $1 million. Ladies and gentlemen, we give the OIG report all the information it needs to make it that Riviera Beach needs to be talked about.
Facts. Here are the facts. When I got elected in 2013, the Riviera Beach had a B credit rating. Effective 2015, we had an A plus credit rating. That's your credit. We've done that, but the Palm Beach Post won't report that. When I got here, the Marina was in a deficit with the slips. John Sprague and Arnold Broussard, who we hired as consultant, helped us raise $29 million of grants that you didn't have to pay for. And because of that decision, we made $2 million this year out of the deficit. But the Post won't print that. They want us to continue to fight. I heard people say today that we don't make decisions. But a lot of the folks that said that today came before the council and said, don't make a decision until you hire Jonathan Evans back. The same man that's going to privatize this city. The same man that's going to raise a tax in June 24th on Singer Island, your district. Here it is right here. Don't listen to me. Here's the Post. Madeira Beach in turmoil. In turmoil. Who's the city manager of Madeira Beach? Jonathan Evans. Sarasota County got rid of him in 3 months.
Let him speak.
Please allow me to speak. These are facts. Sarasota County got rid of him in 3 months. Haines City got rid of him in 18 months. What's the common denominator? This is our city. We are a community. Do not allow outsiders to keep us fighting. We have people up here that grew up in communities together, and they allowed us to separate ourselves and fight. Sir, I'm just trying to talk. We have audience.
Understand that you're at your time, and we need to make sure we hear him. I'm going to give you 15 more seconds.
That's all I'm saying.
All
I'm stating is we have some great things happen in this city, and the Post will never report the great things. It's been demonstrated. I've given you facts that you never heard of, that we raise more grants in marina development than any city in Palm Beach County.
Thank you.
And an A+ credit rating. That's our credit score. Your credit score.
Thank
your
you.
city. Be proud of it. It's your city.
Councilman
This
Davis.
is a candidate forum, but I'm going to tell the facts tonight.
Please,
I didn't come to play.
Councilman Davis.
Please pass it around. Those are the stories. Those are the facts of Jonathan Evans.
Calm down. We're going to get through this. I promise. Folks, we have 2 more questions to go through, so let's get through this.
So, to follow up after that, I appreciate Councilman Davis addressing Madeira Beach, but we're in Riviera Beach, that's our focus. A lot of individuals are telling us that these issues with the media are not self-inflicted, but they are. A lot of the problems, concerns, the lack of transparency, the lack of honesty, the lack of integrity. The lack of transparency, honesty, integrity is why these media negative headlines are being reported. The OIG report that reported the transgressions of our council needs to be outlined and needs to be addressed. And we need to put matters in place. We need to put policies and procedures in place to address these concerns and issues within the OIG report. We have a strong council members up here, strong 19 candidates that are looking to improve the quality of this city. I need you guys to focus and listen to what everyone is saying, because the media is reflecting off of every one of them. Outbursts are not necessary. Let's discuss the issues, concerns, and problems and progress and move forward with that. That's the only way we can handle and fix this city. We have to talk about these problems and these tough decisions. So this OIG report, that was recommendations. Let's look at the recommendations and see how we can improve the quality of our city, work together with the media, put a PR firm in place to address the concerns so we don't have so many negative issues and more positive issues here in Riviera Beach, the city I live, work, and play in.
Thank you. Ms. Brooks, 90 seconds, please.
Okay. You know, the headline is reading, "We are a city in turmoil." And that's not new to any of us. But what is happening there, it's just a combination of everything that's wrong right now in our city. We have persons in positions that are not qualified, they tell me to stand, that are not qualified. And so how can we, it's like we're at a ship in port and there's nobody, there's no captain, you know. When we look at the amount of money that is being spent by our council, you know, who's managing them? Nobody tells them what to do. When Jonathan Evans came in, he discovered so much that was going on, and he was silenced right away by terminating him. But it's a mess there. When we look at the what's being paid with these credit cards, when I was in office, I discovered that the credit cards were being used, and nobody knew on the council. So we're not monitoring ourselves. You know, you just do what you want to do when you want to do it and spend it any way that you want. But who is to make us accountable for that? So I'm saying that we need to get competent people in the office. We need to get a city manager. And a part of my 90-day, for the first 90 days is to hire a city manager, do an administrative review of all the departments, including the utility district, and review all of the CRA total compliance with the city master marina agreement. So we've got to get people in place to make a change.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm going to have to stand up for this one. The city incompetence, but the OIG is the most important to me. We do need Jonathan Evans back to finish what he started. That's first off. The OIG report gave recommendations. But we had a discussion about a forensic audit that we need to conduct right away. And it needs to go on right now. $1 million policy, insurance debacle, the crime rate. We have killings every week. Nobody addresses that. We address it by marching through the neighborhood, and then the next thing we know, it's gone. We need to have our police officers with a task force to go out here and do drug busts, have a boot camp for our young teens. Instead of throwing them in jail, we need to have a boot camp so they can go and get some counseling and some health and wellness and some mental health evaluations. It's terrible. We need to have that forensic audit so we can go through, and they need to be held accountable. We need our state attorney to do his job when things are going wrong. All we're doing here, we got a $500,000 discrepancy. And by the way, Terrence, Mr. Evans, he just found $500,000 in Madeira. Okay? All right?
Thank you.
So don't go there with him.
Thank you. Excuse me, Mr. Guyton. If the audience can just keep it down, there's some of the candidates are having a hard time concentrating with the noise from the audience. So if we can just lower our volume a little bit, it would be, I know we're all fired up, but let's see if we can get through this. Mr. Guyton.
Thank you. As I understand the question is, how can we deal with the negative media? And in my mind, the only way we deal with negativity is to share positive things. We've been relying on other people to promote our city. We have to promote our own city. We can't rely on the Post. We can't rely on Channel 5. We ourselves have to promote the good things that are going on in our city and there are many. We get into our debates with the sound bites, and everybody wants the claps, but it's our image that is suffering because we are still divided. It's okay to have a different opinion than someone else. We need to respect the opposition. We don't have to agree on everything, but we can be agreeable. And if someone doesn't agree with someone, all hell breaks out. And all I'm asking is for the city to come together and understand that we have different opinions about different issues. That don't mean we dislike each other. So it's my hope that we will promote our city, have a good PR firm out there. When the negative article hit, we'll have somebody to respond to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guyton. Councilwoman Hubbard.
Good evening. I want to speak about the credit cards first and foremost. The credit cards was designed for the reconciliation to be a lot easier for the finance department. Where we used to request checks for travel, they preferred you use the credit card and you bring back the receipts, and you were able to reconcile easier in that department. Everybody that has a credit card is not mismanaging the credit card. For example, in the OIG, they had only 2 things that they cited me for. And I'm going to just use me, for example. They said I did not do a post-authorization when I got back. We asked them, what are you looking for when you're looking for post-authorization? 2 things they were looking for. The women's luncheon. We paid for it by credit card. They expected to be invoiced for it. How can you expect to be invoiced for it when you've already paid for it? But immediately, the women's luncheon submitted a invoice that was already paid for. The same thing with the flight. We said post-authorization, and we can show you there's only 2 things that they cited me for. The reason that the OIG, the state attorneys, or what have you, haven't arrested anybody because no one is doing anything wrong. They have recommendations that they feel that we should implement, and we're doing that. We're doing our best to implement what they think we should do.
Thank you.
I'm going to actually answer the question. The one headline that I would address is the OIG reports. And Ms. Hubbard, if I can point out, I believe the city's finance director disallowed your expenses to FAMU Alumni Association because that's not a city expense. So let's really be candid with it. But I really want to point out the OIG report. And let me be honest. I'm going to apologize for 1 second because, you know, perhaps some of the news attention is partly because of me. Because when I came back here, I took on the task of challenging government, challenging our elected officials. 2015 to 2019, I filed 4 different lawsuits on my own dollar, on my own dime, to hold these people accountable. And I don't do it for any financial gain. I do it for compliance because it's the right thing to do. And listen, we can pass an ethics ordinance, but without enforcement, it absolutely means nothing. I've been seeing ethics and OIG reports since 2008 when I graduated college, and there's been no enforcement. So until we hold these people accountable, we need to amend our charter. That way we have a financial oversight review committee that we can recommend to the council that this person should be removed. And then that's the end of it. That way we don't continue to have reports after report. That means, you know what? Absolutely nothing. Because as long as you report, we give them a credit card, but if it's not a crime, unless they steal it, but we've already given it to them. So until we have some real enforcement behind it, passing ethics means absolutely nothing. And I'm going to take them to task, so I do apologize that we're on the news. But let me tell you something. I can remember something my uncle says. Man loves dark better than light.
Time.
And cockroaches love dark more than they do the light.
Moving along. Audience, please. Councilwoman Davis Johnson, this is going to be addressed to you and then move forward from there. Question 4 is regarding the council agenda items. You'll have 45 seconds to answer this. There is a pattern of non-resolution to many agenda items that get deferred or lost. What would you do to bring closure on items and less kicking the can down the road? Examples: personnel replacement for the city attorney, city manager, etc., contracts execution, and lengthy verbal grandstandings from the dais.
Serving in the capacity of chair, I've certainly looked at the agenda and sought to make sure that the agenda was not extremely lengthy, because there is quite a bit of lengthy discussion that happens during the course of our meeting. When you ask about issues of kicking the can down the road and dealing with the hiring, I was a part of the initial team that said, okay, let's move forward. We've got to keep the city moving. You cannot stop the business of the city for political reasons or for these reasons that came before us. Stop, don't do this, don't do that. As a body, we have a responsibility to continue to govern no matter what is happening in the city at the time. So while it may not be popular and it may not have been the return of the person that you thought should have been, we should have still continued to move forward in conducting the business of the city. And the other way that you deal with less kicking the can down the road is reading your agenda, having conversation with your staff, having your questions answered before you get to the dais, because when you get to the dais, you should only be doing one thing, and that is casting your vote, yay or nay, to move the business of the city forward.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say that having a council meeting that lasts until midnight should not be the norm. We should not have council meetings that last until 12 o'clock. One lasts until like 1 a.m. in the morning, and that is the norm for our city council meetings. We should have city council meetings where one of the meetings a month, it'll be all awards, it'll be all the consent, and in one meeting we have with the business of the city. And those hot button issues should go first, which means that if we are talking about something that's going to be involving the city and is a hot button issue, it should go on first and not at midnight. Because people have jobs, they go to bed, and when people watch these, even on TV, they have to go to bed. It's 12 o'clock at night. So we need to be able to have those type of meetings.
Thank you.
First and foremost, we need to understand that all of the council members, including the mayor, has an assistant. So my concern and my question is, what is the assistant doing before these meetings? Are you answering looking at your emails? Are you referring to the agenda? Are you consulting with your council member that you were assigned to and letting them know what's going to be on the agenda? Are you consulting with them and let them know what is going on within the community? That's not happening. Another thing is, we need to ensure that we are executing Robert's Rules of Order during the meeting. That is not happening. And part of the reason why it's not happening is because we are not familiarizing ourselves with Robert's Rules of Order. In addition to that is, council members should not feel compelled to respond to every public opinion that is done during the meeting. That's exactly what it is, public opinion. So therefore, whatever negative opinion they may have about you, it is not for you to respond to every opinion that the city residents are offering at that podium.
Time.
Some things are left best unsaid. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had to leave last night, and I had to go. I think it's up to the city manager, the chair, to make sure everything runs smoothly. My friend used to tell me all the time, planning without implementation is hallucination. We got things in place to keep this from happening. We're the only city that does this. Grandstanding. I read this thing that this rich man said, and he said, words. If you let words control you, then everybody can control you. Every time something is said to a council person, it's a response. And sometimes that response is very, very lengthy. We have to get away from that.
Thank you.
I'm not going to reiterate everything that is said right then. I do agree with my colleagues on my right. I think that we need to prioritize and organize our agendas. I think the city council, they need to meet before the meeting. if you want to have something to discuss to the CRA director, that should be held in a separate meeting prior to the city council's meeting. Each individual can have a conversation with the CRA director, so we don't have to wait until the city council meeting to start having debates.
Thank you.
In 2016, the council elected me unanimously as the chair. And throughout that year, I had the opportunity to work great with this board. And this board at that time talked about having a charter review committee and all of our busy schedules. But from 2016 up to the point I was removed as chair, we had one meeting that made it to 10:30. Everything else was before that. So we've been very capable of working well together. We just have to keep the politics out of the business and focus on working as a team, as a community. That includes working with you, working with us, and making sure that we fill all these vacancies in all these volunteer boards. Because these volunteer boards is where you have your input, where you have your voice, and where you have your vote heard. So we encourage you, volunteer with the library board. We encourage you, planning and zoning. We encourage you, housing authority. We encourage you, recreation board. That's how you can participate. That's how we help us be a team. And that's how we can change our story. Thank you, sir.
I believe that the issue is that we don't like each other as individuals on this council. They have a resentment, they have a disdain. There's just no interest. I don't even think there's a respect on that council for each other. So the constant bickering and arguing takes these meetings to extraordinary amounts of time and pass what needs to be done. If we put permanent people in place to run the city properly, then we will be able to accomplish the goals that we have in place to direct our city and grow our city and enhance our city. The personnel replacements, the contract execution, the lengthy meetings are all based on just us as people not coming together in unison to work together. So if we unify as a council by having meetings outside of the council, meeting with our staff, by having town halls, by having additional time that you take, you're a paid servant leader.
Thank you, that's your time.
Thank you.
To you, Ms. Mills.
I had the privilege of serving as the chair the year 2012, 2013, and realizing that it was a problem sometimes with staying long hours. I got my colleagues to agree with me that we would change the format some. We would have one meeting that would be a special meeting. See, the charter requires only that we meet once a month. And it really worked out very well, because at the special meeting, we had an opportunity to talk about those things that we were interested in doing. So therefore, when we got to our regular meeting, everything ran really very smoothly. I also asked that we would have time certain. So at 10 p.m., no matter what, the meeting was over. Time certain for the comments, to make public comments at 7:30. So no matter what we were doing at 7:30, because I honored that you were trying to get in there and have your comments made. So it will work.
Thank you. Ms. Davis.
I think the items on the agenda should be limited to 10. I also agree with Corey Blackwell that we should be able to have meetings before the meeting so we can already have our votes together. And I also believe that we should eliminate general comments and just stick to the issues at hand, and we can get out much quicker.
Thank you.
I think this is where experience comes in, and I'm not saying that some are not experienced.
Audience, please.
When you're on the dais, you're there to make decisions. When you discuss the item for an hour and then they say that we're not going to vote on it, in my opinion, that was a wasted discussion. So if someone were to call a question, somebody would have to either say they're going to either vote it up or down, that we're going to vote on this item. But it's important to understand that when you're moving items forward on the agenda, you can't let your emotions get involved. You're going to have people come into the podium attacking you.
Mr. Garden, that's your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're almost there. Councilwoman Hubbard.
Thank you. The items that are on the agenda are very important. And I know that the Dayers, as well as the community, is a very passionate community. And we often take a long time, but the business of the city has to be done. We have extended it to 3 minutes for the general public. That has turned into a lengthy debacle and has extended the time. The items that we defer on the agenda, everybody has a right to vote, and if you can't get your item passed or you can't convince a person and your item get tabled, your item get tabled. When I put an item on the agenda, I want it to be voted up or down. I definitely don't want it to be tabled. So we have a...
That's your time. Thank you.
Trodrick McCoy. In defense of our members that have served as council members, I've served as the chair on the Planning and Zoning Board for quite some time, I think probably over 3 years at some point. But it is a delicate balancing act trying to allow the opportunity for public input and to facilitate a meeting. You know, one of the fundamental things that I really stand behind in our code, 136, I believe, section 136, and also in our Constitution, is for the public's right to redress government. I don't want you to get up and tell me about how much you think we should give community benefits to this organization, because we can't give to other organizations until we get our stuff right. So when I'm elected, I'm going to eliminate that. That's my motion, because we can't even give to a nonprofit that doesn't even give us any accountability to what they're doing to the funds, but it is a balancing act, and I do empathize in that respect.
Thank you.
My housing board meeting lasts 2 hours, and we just finished a $20 million project. For fair and orderly meetings, everyone uses Robert Rules of Order. If you want change, don't continue to vote for a circus. Professionalism is everything. Experience is everything, but so is integrity. And you have a chance to vote for new faces, new vision, new direction. I see that some of you have endorsed candidates already, but you have a chance to vote for people that understand what they're going to discuss on the dais. They're going to take time to prepare. Those are the changes you need to make at the ballot box on March 12th. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This concludes our question portion, and we're going to go into our closing statements. And as the rules were said earlier, we are going to go in reverse order. Mr. Guyton, you're up first. 60 seconds, please.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I'd like to thank Sika. I'm running because I feel that I can add some value to the council. Experience matters. Sometimes we get a lot of new faces and there's a big learning curve. That needs to be mixed with some experienced people, and that way we can keep the agendas and the city moving. I ask for your vote on March 12th. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm running because I'm very passionate about my city. And I've been working very hard these past 2 years on social media with the Dr. Botel and Kashamba Miller's campaign to get this city straight. I was very passionate and angry about the firing of Jonathan Evans because I felt like the majority of us knew that he would finally bring structure to the city. And I'm running to clean up the west side of my city because it's like a stepchild to the city of Riviera Beach. No, everyone has ignored that city over there. And I'm ready to move forward and join with other people to get it right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Billy Brooks, she is the one for District 1. We're blessed to have on the diocese right now 2 people with experience in administration and business. In administration and business. I'm speaking of Kashamba and Dr. Botel. You need another voice with the same experience to make a shift in that council so that you, the citizens, will get what you deserve. So I'm asking you to please vote for me March 12th. Billy Brooks, I'm #1 on the ballot because I know I can make a difference in this city. I have a passion for the city, and I will leave a legacy with the city, as I have done already with the DROP program. And that's what it's all about. You've got to Wherever you plant, you've got to have a harvest. When you see the City Hall complex over there with Bobby Brooks' name on it, that was my husband. He had a $4 million grant. And built that complex with $4 million, no money at all from the citizens. So we've got to leave a legacy when we serve. And I'm proud to say what my legacy has already been, and that is the drop. And we have retirees who have left with sums of money, and so that's in place. So Billy Brooks, number 1, District 1.
Thank you so much.
I want to thank the Singer Island Civic Association for hosting this amazing event tonight. This is what the media should be covering. We have 150 people here that came out to see these candidates. We have 19 amazing candidates here. My name again is Douglas Lawson. I'm the owner of Infinity Taxes and Beyond. I'm a business owner that's employed over 60 people, 30 residents of Riviera Beach. I've also founded the Bridge to Infinity Youth Entrepreneurial Camp. I also want to proudly announce tonight that I was endorsed by the PBA, Police Benevolent Association. They had 2 additional excellent candidates, the incumbent and a retired PBSO officer. Yet they went with Douglas Lawson as their candidate of choice. Please choose Douglas Lawson March 12th for your ballot. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Been elected in office now for 5.5 years, going on 6 as a senior member of the board. I'm the one that's elected that goes to the schools and reads to the children. I'm the one that's elected as I work with you to lower our taxes. I'm the one that's elected, when re-elected, we're going to continue to raise money through federal grants to create real jobs and opportunity. I'm the one that's going to be willing to make the tough decisions for you. Whether I'm attacked or not, I have to do a job. Sometimes you have to make great sacrifices for the better good of people. And I love you guys, I love myself. And I'm a father in this community. My daughter goes to school in this community. I was raised in this community. I didn't just land in this community. And I serve you. I work for you. And I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Davis.
Corey Blackwell, Riviera Beach City Council, District 5. I am a retired deputy sheriff, as Mr. Lawson pointed out. I did not receive the endorsement from PBA. There's a reason. My yeses are yes, and my no's will be no's. Doug Lawson is now on the hook to PBA. PBA is your representative of your police department. One day, they got to negotiate. Let's see if his yeses are yeses or his no's are no's.
All right, y'all need to stop that. We closing out now.
Hold
we
on.
almost there. We almost
Calm
there.
down, calm down. We're
Look.
almost getting there.
I'm an owner-operator, and I've been working at Tropical Shipping for the last 14 years, and I have a job, and I do pretty well. I would love to represent you in the city, this great city. I've been working at this for the last 5 years. Probably got a master's degree in knowing where I'm supposed to be and how this works. You got to understand, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time and a lot of money. But I'm doing it because I want to represent you in this city. And I'm almost there. Vote Tommy Walker, District 3.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know how I'm going to come behind what just happened, but I'm here to ask you 2 questions. Do you want change or you want more of the same? I hear there's concerns about the education and trustworthy of the candidates that are running. I'm here to let you know that I'm a trustworthy individual. I have a master's degree in Nova Southeastern University. I'm a government employee, so I know how government should run. I know that we have an issue with lack of fair hiring and employment practices in our city, and we need to do something about it. We need to ensure that we're hiring individuals that are qualified for our positions to avoid the city being liable for further lawsuits. There's no need for us to have people on the council that are allowing employees to give themselves unauthorized raises, and there's no accountability behind those authorized raises. I am Marvelous Washington. I'm here to serve, not to earn. Vote for me, City Council, District 3.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shirley Lanier, District 3 as well. I want to bring back to the city what they call honesty, integrity, ethics, to be able to be a person that is uncorruptible, to be a person that is careful with other people's money, to be able to be in a position where we need a new library for the city. I said before that the city has $500,000 from the state that is languishing because they haven't done anything with it. So what happens is that when we have situations where we bring money to the city does nothing with it, the people take it back, and we're in the same position that we were in before. So I just want to say that vote for Shirley Lanier, District 3, and you will have a person on your council who is honest, who has integrity, and who has ethics.
Thank you.
I encourage you to re-elect Tanya Davis Johnson. I have been ethical, I have been transparent, and I have been committed to the citizens of Riviera Beach. I have worked specifically to ensure that our staff, namely our first responders, are provided with safe, environmentally sound workspace. But more importantly, I have worked tirelessly for our seniors, housing, making sure that repairs have been made at no cost to those citizens. I have worked in the community. I continue to work in the trenches, understanding that there's a food desert, understanding that we have various issues that are facing this city. But more importantly, I have been committed to the business of the city, and I will remain committed to the business of the city. So on March 12th, I humbly ask that you re-elect Tanya Davis Johnson, City Council, District 3.
Thank you.
As I close, my wife and I are both business owners. We're taxpayers, we're homeowners. We're investing in this community. I think that you need to have an open-minded night and vet all the candidates. You have an opportunity to have real change in this city. We have untapped potential. We have money that's sitting out there. I'm pretty sure McCoy will follow up on this. We got sales tax revenue, $4 million that's untouched. I don't even want to alert the council that because they'll mismanage it. We have money owed from the Ocean Mall project. We need to develop, move forward. You have someone from day one that will put us back on the map. Experience matters. We have to change. One of the candidates for mayor said, Ronnie Felder was speaking about leadership. Change is needed. It isn't comfortable, but it's needed. It's time to change the socks. I'm tired. Let's go at the ballot box and change this city. You have new candidates with experience that will take us into the future. Please do that. Thank you.
I have an issue supporting someone that can't even sustain maintaining their own job or supporting their own family. This is the one time that I'm going to encourage you not to recycle using those yellow and blue bins outside your house. Don't recycle, please. We've already seen this. My name is Trodrick McCoy, and that's all I got. But I want to spend the last few minutes to just say this, and this is just being honest, because this is all I got. I got to really tip my hat and commend all my professional colleagues that put their lives and their families on the line to come out here and want to serve. It takes a lot to run for office. And the comments that I heard last night kept me up where I haven't even had 2 hours of sleep. It's disparaging, and it goes to the very core of what all of us are trying to do. Even though we differ on how we get to the end goal, I think we all have a desire to see better government in Riviera Beach. And it shouldn't come by attacking somebody because of what they did or what issues they had in the past. We all know there is a myriad of issues that we have to address in Riviera Beach. Let's address the issues. I have a son. He's 4 years old. We all have families. So let's stick to the real issues. Let's debate the issues and leave all of that other stuff out of there. So in defense of my colleagues, let's keep it professional.
I'm Lynn Hubbard, and again, I'm seeking re-election for seat 1 in the city of Riviera Beach. One thing that the residents of Riviera Beach know about me is that I will stand up for you, I will fight for you, I will fight for the resources of this city, I will fight that there are
Audience,
no
please.
that there are no division of resources among just the developers. The division of resources need to be among all of us. We work together to benefit this city. I always say, put the people before the politics. Improve the quality of life for the residents of Riviera Beach. That's my background. Community and family self-sufficiency, creating opportunities, avenues, and action plans so that the residents of Riviera Beach can improve the quality of their life. When you dial my phone or come to my door, one thing for certain and two for sure, I am going to get up, I'm going to answer you, and I'm going to demand that the resident of Riviera Beach be heard, and we try and answer their problem and improve whatever the situation might be at that time. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes all of the questioning for the City Council seats 1, 3, and 5. We're going to take a 10-minute intermission before the mayoral race. If all the candidates could just stay around for 1 second so we could take a quick picture, I appreciate it. Thank you. 10 minutes. Mayoral race is about to begin. Please help me welcome candidates for the City of Riviera Beach Mayor. Ronnie Felder, incumbent Mayor Thomas Masters. Arthur Morrison was here earlier this evening, but he was sick, so he had to leave early. He didn't want to get anyone infected. Tradick Thomas and John Lee Williams. Cedric Thomas, sorry. I don't know, my notes are off. Gentlemen, each candidate will have a 30-second self-introduction. 3 secret predetermined questions will be asked to you with different lengths of time. Each candidate will also have a 60-second closing statement. The order for the self-introduction was picked from a hat earlier, with Mr. Felder going first. Mr. Felder, 30 seconds.
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Sika, for this great opportunity to come to this forum. To the residents, thank you for coming out to hear us. My name is Ronnie Felder. I'm running for mayor. Married for 27 years to this beautiful, lovely lady, Carla Felder. My mom and my dad, my sisters and my brothers are here. I'm the CEO of a company, an organization, Jay's Ministries, for the past 4 years. I'm a native of this community. I love this community. I look to bring positive change and unity. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor Masters.
Thank you. My name is Mayor Thomas Masters. I am the mayor, current mayor. I hope that, continue to pray that I will bring the leadership to the mayor's office that I've been able to bring for several years. Leadership with job fairs, career fairs, leadership with bringing forth a golden years discount card for our senior citizens, give them 40% discount. Over 2,000 residents have that in their hand. Leadership, establishing neighborhood crime watch programs. Leadership, preventing metal junkyards from being built in our city. Leadership, preventing a bleach plant from being built in the city. Continue the leadership that I've been doing. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cedric Thomas. I'm running for mayor of the city of Riviera Beach. First, I would like to thank the Singer Island Civic Association for hosting this particular candidates debate. I'd like to thank the residents of Riviera Beach for coming out as well. I've been in this city all my life. born and raised here. I'm married to Tamika, who's in the rear. I have one daughter, Jasmine, who's away at school, making me very proud. I'm a business owner. I've owned a business, C-Square Transportation, for over 14 years. I've also been a police officer.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm John Lee Williams. First of all, I want to thank the Senior Island Civic Association for giving us this opportunity tonight. I am a retired Parks and Rec director, 25 years. I'm a father of 2 and a grandfather of 9. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. I'm a public servant for over 40 years. I've coached youth football, baseball, basketball. I'm a volunteer mentor for youth in our community, plus and seniors. I have over 25 years experience in government. Time,
but I wanted to let you finish your thought. But thank you. We're going to move on to the first question. Question 1, 45 seconds to answer. Topic, charter revision recommendations. Which of the 4 charter revision amendments do you consider the most important and why? Mr. Felder, that's to you.
Yes, thank you. I consider all of them important, but one of them that stands out is the term limits. I think that, first of all, we have to give honor to our citizens that took the time to spend months, countless hours putting that together. I think they should be acknowledged. The reason I like or want to talk about term limits is because I believe if you are in office time and time and time again, it allows negative relationships to grow. And so what we need to do is, if you do your term, if you do a good job, you can then push the city forward. What's been happening now is negative relationships have been built, and so the city is being held back because people strive off of negative relationships.
Thank you.
I will. All of them are important. That's why they're on the ballot. I think the people will speak, and whatever the people say, I'm willing to carry it forward to the best of my ability. I do disagree with the previous speaker as it relates to term limits. For the people that believe in term limits, that's not what you're going to get. What you're going to get, if it passes, musical chairs. Same people voting, one candidate can move to another seat, the mayor can move to the citywide seat can move to the mayor's seat, someone in the citywide seat can move in another seat that they represent, so it's just musical chairs. That's not term limit. Term limit is like President Obama can never come back and be president again. It's also not fair to our young people who want to come and serve our city and not given the chance. Let the people decide.
The question is, which one of the 4, since my colleagues have selected to pick the term limit one, I'll stay with the term limits as well. I have no problem with the term limits. What I do have a problem with is if it's only there to get an individual out of office. Your job should be to vote that individual out of office. It should not be where we can't get an individual out of office, so let's just term limit them out of office. Case in point, if you're saying for the current individual, which I'm sure nobody is saying that, he's still going to be here for another 9 years if that's the case, so that won't solve an issue if you're doing that for this. We need to make charter amendments that make sense and that matter. It is no disrespect to the individuals who took a lot of time.
I agree that all of them are important, and I do support all of them. But the one that I'm most familiar with as a retired administrator, the one that stands out the most with me is the council members interfering with the manager's day-to-day operations. As an administrator, it is a very difficult thing to try to run your department efficiently and effectively when you have council members dipping into the department, having requests made of the department head without the manager's approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to question number 2. 60-second response for this question. Topic, city image and media. Out of all of the negative stories we have seen and read about in our city's media, which one do you think has done the most harm to the city, and what would you do about it?
Again, that's a couple of things. I don't think we're a city in turmoil. I think we have leaders that are in turmoil. And so we have beautiful citizens. We have a beautiful community. It's just our leaders. We can't continue to pay $1.1 million for insurance that there are no employees there. We can't continue to take these trips with no accountability that we're not coming back with solid answers or solutions to benefit our city. One of the things I want to do is talk about our water department. I said the other night, if I take a trip to China, first of all, I won't take a trip to China. I bring China to us to help build a 21st century water department that we need. We're talking about everything else, but the issue is that I want to bring up is, and it's not a lot of negativity there because it's not being brought up, is we can end up being another Flint, Michigan. We need to change our water department. That's one of the first things I want to do as mayor is get a team together, let's put a new department in, water department, so we can have fresh water. Not a party, not a dance, but water. That's one of the big issues that we need to bring in.
Time. Thank you.
Thank you, and that's exactly what we're doing. As it relates to the negative stories, all of them have been negative. I don't know which one is worse. But I remember a former police officer saying, ride and die. That was horrible. The insurance debacle is just horrible. I did something about it. I waited for the city manager to do something. It never happened. The person should have been fired. If it had been in the corporate world, that person would have been fired. There may be others responsible, and we'll find that out as the investigations continue. But we do know that one person at the end of the day, the risk manager, certainly had that responsibility. I suspended the young lady. If I had not done that, she would have still been working. I suspended her without pay. So that is doing something. It's taking action. Thank you. And that was a very negative headline. Thank you, sir.
When it comes to city issues, I watch the news every morning just like everyone else. I know that for a fact, whether it has something to do with Riviera Beach or not, if it's negative, they say Riviera Beach. I noticed one morning they said, oh, it's going to be beautiful on Singer Island, but if it was raining, it's raining in Riviera Beach. And that's the way that they cast us. But everybody has their, their right to their press, freedom of press and all that, but it's up to us to tell our story. It's up to us to demand that they do better with how they represent us. We hired a PR firm, one of the best, several years ago, paid top dollar. It did not change anything until we change how we expect our media and our print media to characterize us. Then it's never going to stop. A lot of us get off basically saying, hey, call in this and try to embarrass the city. All that's doing is driving our property values down and making us all look bad. When we fight and we go back and forth with that, that's what they're going to put on. They said earlier, no media is here. Every debate I've been at, no media has been there because we've had 19 candidates that are debating and trying to earn your respect for it. I think it's only 4 of us. Maybe we should get a little bit more time.
Maybe we can do that for the next question.
Negative stories. The one that jumps out in my mind is the story about the police chief at a meeting at a church where there was supposed to be this secret meeting and then people weren't supposed to know about it. Well, I think for me, that is one of the most damaging things that could have happened to the city of Riviera Beach. So if that's the negative story for me would be the issue when police chief was caught on camera saying he wasn't in a place and he was there. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you. Moving on to question 3, and since you guys are so efficient, I'll move the time from 60 seconds to 90 seconds on the next one. The third question this evening is a mayoral challenge. Comment on what you see as the single biggest challenge for the role of mayor of Riviera Beach, and how would you address it? 90 seconds.
First of all, the image. I think the image of our mayor is very important. He's the catalyst to our city. He dictates relationships with our business sector. He's like the engine, he's like the quarterback. He's not to bring division in with the other board. He's to bring the bridge and bridge us together so that we can make strides to move further. That's been a challenge over the years because there's been so much dissension between the office of the mayor and our council. So as mayor, one of the things I want to pose is working with all of my colleagues, sitting down with them, getting to know them, getting to know their plans, getting to know their district to work along with them. So we can't continue to have negative or a negative mayor in the seat. We have to have a mayor that can bring people together. That's the number one job. We have to have a mayor that can bring the business sector in, meet our businesses. He's the face of the city. Everybody that comes into your city wants to meet your mayor. The mayor also has the responsibility of keeping jobs, or not just jobs, but creating careers, creating home ownerships. Right now, this city has about 70 to 80% or 75% rental properties. From the mayor's position, you can create seminars to teach people how to be landowners. And I say landowners because the land in Riviera Beach is worth everything.
Thank you.
Well, as the mayor, I've done some of the things that the previous speaker said that we haven't done. We have been able to bring businesses into our city. We've sat down, we've talked to them. We just now have urgent care, never had that before. We also have a dialysis center that we've never had that before. You got economic development all over the city. We have the Veterans Building going to over 90 different apartments, 107, and then another one for the senior on the west side. We have all kinds of unprecedented economic development. The biggest challenge for me is how do you continue to be accessible to all the people? People stop the mayor at the stop signs, at the laundromat, at the grocery stores. They want to talk about all their problems. You've got to be able to listen to the people, be able to understand what they need and what they want, and be there for all the people, for the seniors, for the veterans, for the unemployed, for the underemployed, for our students, for the millennials, and for all the people on both sides of the bridge. Being accessible and being able to give the people what they want and what they need. I have tried to do that. The challenge has always been be there and be available. Walk the streets, walk the neighborhoods, listen to the people. It's just only so many hours in a day, but the mayor should always understand he's on call. I know I am 24 hours. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do I think the biggest challenge, the role of the mayor is, and how would I address it? The first challenge I think that the mayor faces is the term of weak mayor, but has very strong powers in terms of what that person in that position can do. That needs to be streamlined. You're looked at as a weak mayor, but then you have the power of ultimate investigations and suspension of employees. Those are not weak powers. So it convolutes and confuses individuals when they believe that the mayor can do certain things that he can't, and that when he doesn't do certain things that he can, it frustrates, individuals, and it sometimes is looked at as a political ploy. Let's take, for instance, the discipline that he just talked about a few moments ago. Well, it's a lot of things happening in the city. Yes, that particular issue was a real problem. But you pick a time, such as now, right before an election season, to suspend somebody. That just wasn't the right thing to do. The city manager could have handled that particular part of it. So that's why you have individuals screaming, hey, let's take this power away, or let's do away with the mayor's seat, or let's do away with a District 5 a seat, because of those balancing thoughts between the two. If you streamline that, either make the mayor a strong mayor, which I said in the first debate that I am a proponent of, or not make them total ceremonial, but there's been a whole lot less of cutting ribbons and shaking hands because there's not any redevelopment. There's not anything that's going on, Most times this mayor doesn't even sit on the council throughout the whole meeting. He's able to get up and move back and forth while the council members have to, that was 90 seconds?
Yep.
Okay.
He's going to want 120 seconds after. He keeps moving the goalposts back.
That's right.
What do I think is the single biggest challenge as the mayor? Number one, we need to be respected not only in Riviera Beach, but we need to be respected countywide on the state level as well. Riviera Beach is like a diamond in the rough. We have all types of amenities. We have the port. We have one of the most magnificent beaches on the East Coast. We have 15, 20 Fortune 500 companies, but nobody wants to deal with us because we're not respected. Respect goes a long way. How you present yourself, where you present yourself, how you look, what people think about you, it goes a long way. And as your mayor, and I think Mr. Felder said quarterback, I've been that all my life, the quarterback, and I'm ready to do this.
Thank you. We're going to move on to our closing statements, but we're going to go in reverse. Mr. Williams, that would be up to you. 90 seconds.
Okay. Again, I want to thank the Singer Island Civic Association for allowing me this opportunity. I would like to thank my family and friends and the community for standing behind me as I embarked on this challenge. As a little boy, after my father passed, I made a conscious decision to give back. Through the Parks and Rec Department, I've given 25 years. I've raised about 4 decades of young individuals. We talked about crime and how do we deal with crime. Well, in the last 4 decades, I've raised up 1 million+ kids when it comes to staying out of trouble, not going to jail, not being involved in gang-related activities. The activities they was involved in were all sports-related, and I can say that we have a lot of those individual kids that's gone on to be professional athletes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you once again, Singer Island Civic Association, for hosting us tonight, and thank you, the residents, for coming. On March 12th, you're going to have a choice to make. And all the individuals that are sitting up here feel that they can do the job. I know that I can do the job. I've proven to you with my leadership, with my 9 years of service on the city council. This is going to be really, really tough because you have a choice to make on whether you want to resist the ideas that this city is in turmoil and it's just a waste and we can't do anything about it. I'm hoping you reject that, and I'm hoping you accept the fact that with your help, with your guidance, with your input, with all citizen engagement, we can move this city forward in a positive light, demanding the respect that we should get and realizing the beautiful gem that we have here. Yes, we have 5 Fortune 500 companies that are here: Pepsi, FedEx, UPS, and the list goes on. Yes, we have the Intercoastal here that has the best diving, the best fishing. Yes, up under the bridge, they take it over, on Sunday mornings because they realize what we have here. We have not yet done anything with that. And as your mayor, I would show you, I would take the time to invest in those opportunities, showing our youth what can be there, showing the adults what can be there, giving them something to come to, not run away from. I want everybody to be able to enjoy what we do here in the city. I want everybody to love this city the same way that I love it, the same city that I grew up in, the same city that I served you as a police officer in, the same city that I became a volunteer first in. I still recruit for this city, and I will continue to do so as mayor.
Thank you.
It is now time for me to stand. I'm very happy about the unemployment rate, and I believe I had a little something to do with it. I was just looking at the latest stat, 4.4. Now, we rank 4.4 is the unemployment rate. We're the 18th lowest in the state of Florida, and it's the lowest rate that we've had in our city for 10 years. So I have made a difference. And you want to talk about respect and negativity, people do not continue to vote for you if they don't see what you're doing. If they don't see who you are, not just on the dais helping people, but they see you. and they see you all the time. So when you talk about me, you're talking about those people who have voted for you consistently. If you want to talk about respect, this is the mayor that was elected vice president of tourism of the World's Conference of Mayors. This is the mayor. You want to talk about division? This is the mayor that has stood up to the council when they were wrong, when they wanted to move everything off of blue. This mayor stood up. This mayor stood up and said, we've got to change the old Dixie concept and make it Barack Obama. I believe that you should have a mayor that will stand up for what's right, stand up for the people, and let's bring it home on March the 12th for the seniors, for the veterans, for the unemployed, the underemployed, for the students, for everybody that have always voted for the mayor. Vote for the mayor. You know what you have, and you know who you have, but you don't know what you might get. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sing Island Civic Association. I want to say this. You know, growing up in Riviera Beach, I played in the streets of Monroe Heights, relaxed at Field Foster Park, and enjoyed living in my community. Through the support of my family and mentors, I matured from just living the dream to helping make strategic plans to build and lift up dreams of others. If you want someone who will advocate for you in fixing challenges facing our youth and support easing the burdens of our seniors, on March 12th, vote for Ronnie Felder. I am asking for your support. My goal is to find you jobs, but to bring, not just to find you jobs, but to bring you tools and partnerships where you will gain successful careers right here in our city. If you want progressive growth in our downtown quarters on March 12th, I'm asking for your vote. Political rhetoric only goes so far. I believe in a plan of action, a plan to rebuild the quality of our water department, a plan to restore relationships between our business community, police department, and community, and the plan to revitalize our neighborhoods by initiating a beautification program and an award system focused on residents' housing. Now you have a choice to make, like many of them said. Do you want things to be the same, or do you want the city that we say the best city to work, live, and play?
Time. Thank you very much. That concludes our mayoral race, but I ask you to stay seated for 10 more minutes and invite Jarvius Jackson up to talk about the charter review amendments that we'll see on the ballot on March 12th. It's about 10 minutes before we conclude, and then after that, I hope everyone stays around and has a cup of coffee and talks to all the candidates. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody. If you could just bear with us for about 10 minutes. What we are going to do is just discuss the proposed ballot amendments that's going to be on the ballot on March 12th, 2019. And we want to dispel any misnomers about the proposed amendments that's going to be on the ballot. So just a little icebreaker. Do anybody know when was the charter initially adopted? Any elected officials know? B, that is the correct answer. All right, last, do anyone know when was the last charter reviewed? A is correct. And finally, what form of government does the city of Riviera Beach have? The correct answer is B. We have a council, mayor, manager form of government. All right, Patty? All right, so really quickly, dear voters, the city charter serves as the constitution of the city and sets forth the structure of city government. The city charter may be amended only by the voters. Please be advised that on March 12, 2019, city election ballot, you will see 4 separate charter amendment ballot questions for you to vote either yes or no. Only those charter amendments which are approved by the majority of the city electors voting thereon will be adopted and become part of the city charter. All right, and the mayor and city council have enabled these charter amendments to be presented to you for approval or rejection following the dedicated work of the Charter Review Advisory Board and the city council's careful consideration and adoption of 4 charter amendments ordinances on December 19, 2018. So I ask you the question, where do we go from here? So the prohibition of the interference with administration. It is proposed that the city charter be amended to create a new provision which prohibits the mayor and council or its members from giving orders to city employees who are under the supervision of the city manager, and prohibits the mayor or an individual council member from giving orders to the city manager. And again, it's not to say that our elected officials cannot speak to the city manager about a pothole. That was an example that was used earlier. It is saying that collectively the council must give a directive to that city manager, and it also delineates the powers between the city manager and city council. So again, if you're subordinate under the supervision of the city manager, this right here just protects you that an individual council member can't come to a department head and give them a direct order.
Proposed amendments. A yes vote would approve the charter amendments as described above. A no vote would leave the charter as it currently is and not bar the mayor and council or its members from giving orders to city employees who are under the supervision of the city manager, and not prohibit the mayor or individual council members from giving orders to the city manager. It would be a yes or it would be a no.
And with that one, just think of your job. If you're working, your boss's boss can't come to you in your office or at your desk and give you a directive. So just think of it in that aspect. The next one is the creation of term limits for mayor and council members. The city charter currently does not provide any limit on the number of terms that the mayor or council members may serve. It is proposed that the charter be amended to provide that the mayor and council members shall be limited to 3 consecutive terms of office. And again, this does not say that, I believe there's an example used that this right here does not stop a council person from running office again. This actually does. This puts a cap that an elected official can serve up to a maximum of 18 years. That's 3 3-year terms as a city council member, and if they so desire to run for mayor and they win, it puts a cap on them serving as a mayor. So it's a total of 18 years total. Still too long, right?
Okay, a yes vote would approve the charter amendment as described above. A no vote would leave the charter as it currently is and enable the mayor and council members to continue to be elected for unlimited consecutive terms of office. And our role simply was to not have any politics involved. Half of us didn't even know circumstances about particular people. We took a look at what was going on nationwide, other municipalities, looking at our government, our Senate, our council, and let that be the benchmark. So none of our decisions were political, none of it was personal. We were doing what we could do for the city of Riviera Beach.
Number 3, restriction on former elected city officials. It is proposed that the city charter be amended to adopt a new provision to prohibit any former elected city official from having any compensated appointive city office or employment, whether as a city employee, consultant, or independent contractor or business owner doing business with the city until 1 year after the expiration of his or her term of office. And again, I know someone had made comments that this was a one-time isolated event, and oftentimes we see in government we're often reactive to situations. So this right here makes us proactive, and so that we don't have a isolated event occur again. So once an elected official serves their term in office, if there's a vacancy, whether it's a department head or as an ambassador, All this is saying, sit out 1 year before you come and work for the city. We all know that perception is our reality. Oftentimes, council people are privy to information before it gets to you, so this right here just stops that right there.
A yes vote would approve the charter amendment as described above. A no vote would leave the charter as it currently is and would enable the city to continue to be able to immediately hire, contract, or do business with former city elected officials once they leave. We took a look at what goes on in corporate America. The template was already built. There are ethics in corporate America. So instead of creating a wheel, we just took from the best, not only from business, but also from other municipalities.
And the final proposed amendment is the creation of an ethics provision, and it simply reads, it is proposed that the city charter be amended to adopt a new provision which make reference to and requires compliance with applicable federal, state, and county standards of conduct for public officers and employees, and authorizes the city council to adopt additional standards of conduct and code of ethics requirements for the city's elected officials and city officers and employees. Again, it was mentioned that, you know, we are governed by the OIG and the ethics. However, the City of Riviera Beach Charter, that is our governing document. So this right here holds our city elected officials and our employees accountable. We don't care about what the county has or what the state have. We're concerned about Riviera Beach. So putting this in our charter, it holds our elected officials to a higher ethical standards. And those are the 4 proposed amendments that's going to be on the ballot on March 12th. We're not telling you how to vote, but we're just asking you to vote. All right? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jarvis. I'd like to thank the candidates, the audience, and the volunteers in the city of Riviera Beach. The Singer Island Civic Association is always looking for new sponsors in island enrichment. Please get with myself or any other board member if you'd like more information, or would you like to contribute to our cause. This concludes tonight's candidate forum and the Singer Island Civic Association, and I thank you for coming. Good night. Please hang out, have a cup of